So we'll give you the body first, but you give us $10,000 first too, right? We'll put the body down, you put the $10,000 down. We'll each take that risk and we'll each do the filtration after putting in the investment.
You want for your body? Sure, you can sell your body for 10,000.
Asking for trust. You want me to trust you enough to invest my body and then find out who you are. So invest your $10,000 and trust me.
This is my philosophy.
The thing with dating men, when you're a cis woman, a cishet woman who dates cishet men, trusting them from jump can get you unalived.
Okay, so Teresa and I have been talking back and forth about this in the last couple of days. And I realized that I haven't shared this in a while, like a long time, about like my dating strategy. I am not a dating coach, nor do I want to be one. And as much as I don't generally like dating coaches, I actually was on the original person who was first. I was on her podcast, and I don't really like really strict rules around things personally, because I don't like a meal plan diet approach to dating didn't work for me. However, I did have one strategy that worked very well for me, because I don't believe in purity culture. Purity culture is rooted in white supremacy culture, and especially anti-blackness, and capitalism and misogyny and all the things, right? And, you know, I get like a lot of people will be like, they think that the way I approach dating is based on purity culture, and it's absolutely not. It is based on lived experiences and also wanting to be, you know, a slut. Like, I want to hook up. I want to have fun, but I just didn't want to get hurt by men. And I didn't want my relationships to be based on that. And I also didn't know till Therese told me that again, I'm not promoting that dating coach, but she did used to be, I think she was like a stripper or something for a long time. And so she understands men pretty well. You know, anyone who does schmegs work, or anyone who just works with a lot of men, like I understand men pretty well from having worked in mostly male-dominated fields for so long and being the cool girl and one of the guys. I know how they talk. I know how they operate. I know how they think, unfortunately, which is terrifying. And I don't hate men. I love men. But I am rightfully scared of most of them, as we all should be. And so, you know, one of the things that frustrates me, and when I was telling stories on stage, when I told this story and my approach to dating, I promise you I'm getting to it. When I told this story, women in the audience would come up to me and be like, oh my God, thank you, because what I'm doing is not working. I keep getting hurt. And whenever I talked about this, the men hated it. They hated this approach to dating, so much so that when I did a set in Long Island City, when I was in New York, it's basically just over the bridge, at a comedy show, it was like that I will never do this format again because it gives way too much power to men. But when I started talking about the story, one of the things is that if someone in the audience doesn't like what you're talking about, they can just hold up a light, and basically it's like the cane pulling someone off stage. And when I started talking about how I dated, man in the back immediately put his light up, and I was the only person to get pulled off of stage in the middle of my set because I was talking about this. It makes men so angry. So angry. And that's how I know I'm doing it right. If what I'm doing pisses off men, I know I'm doing something right. That is why they came after me for my talk when I talked about being, a reluctant, cougar or whatever. Men my own age didn't want to date me. They wanted to date women way younger. So I started dating younger men. Not crazy younger, because I don't want to be like a little predator, but just, men, I don't know. I was like 40, dating dudes in their 30s. Even not dating, more like hooking up, like whatever. Men do this all the time. And they do it in a really predatory way. So I was just like, whatever. I don't have to date someone my age or older like I've been conditioned to. And they came after me. They literally slut shamed me for this article right here in Glamour. It didn't go viral because I think viral usually means like millions of people read it, but it came close. It did very well. So well that I ended up having to write a follow-up article with them saying I wrote about having schmegs after 40, and it literally became international tabloid news. The Daily Mail, the Star, the Sun, whatever this is, like 17 tabloids, at least, that I know of, ran this story, slut shaming me for hooking up with and going on dates with men younger than me. And like not even that much younger than me. And by the way, there was one guy who looked so young, but he said he was like 29, I think, or whatever. I literally carded him. I guarantee you men are not doing that. Anyway, oh, the Mirror too. And I was the first example of cougar in the online dictionary for a while. Look at that. So believe me when I say, anytime I get men all riled up, whether it's me talking about dating younger men or me talking about men's hobbies and how that is a form of financial abuse and exploitation, oftentimes, not always. Those are the two times that I have been, these men have tried to ruin my life, trolled me, sent death threats, like humiliate me online. And that's when I know I've hit the truth. Okay. So this is why when men get so upset when I talk about this, on stage or in my videos and stuff now, I know I've hit on something that's a good thing. And what that thing is that when I was dating, okay, I'm going to move out the sun. Hold on. I had two categories when I dated: fork boys and men I might actually want to date. And those two never crossed, ever. When I met I wanted to hook up. I was in my Tinder bender. I wrote about it here for the Daily Beast back in September. They kind of I have lots of articles that happened during that Tinder bender for the Daily Beast and Glamour and all that stuff. But this one right here goes into why I did it. Because I wanted to take back my O. I wanted to learn how to center myself. And this experiment was great for me. I do not suggest it for everyone before you're like, that's dangerous. You know what's even more dangerous? Falling in love with men, dating men, letting them move into your house. That is just as dangerous as hooking up with strangers, honestly, at this point. I'm not saying, again, this is very, very dangerous, but literally dealing with men on any level is very dangerous. And so I had two different categories. Men do this all the time. They're like, that woman is wife material, and this woman I will literally never commit to. I'm just going to screw. I'm going to manipulate her and drag her along and let her think that I want something with her, but I don't. Those are the women who get shut up rings at best. At best. And usually those are the women who these men, especially hobo schedules, will move in with, exploit you, ruin your life, even maybe get you pregnant and all kinds of stuff. Waste your time, which is just as valuable as money, and have no intention of ever taking you seriously as a partner. So why should I not do that? But I did not do it in a manipulative way. I was very honest. Men that I just wanted to hook up with and I could assess right out of the gate, I'm like, I don't want it. I mean, I was never like, maybe this will lead to a relationship. Now, before I kind of figured out this plan, I tried to do the thing where I hook up with guys pretty quickly. Never once worked out in my favor. Never once. And this is why I started doing this, because what I noticed is my friends that were in healthy relationships, not all of them, okay? Again, there are no rules here, but I'm telling you as somebody who almost got unalived by a man that I dated, I realized that dealing with men is life and death, and that falling in love with a man, or more limerence, it's not love, falling for a man, living with a man, getting emotionally wrapped up with a man is so dangerous if I don't know who that man is. And given that I had so much schmegdual trauma, I'm a survivor of NSHMEST, right? Childhood SA, not from other, I mean, there's so many examples from my childhood. I don't trust my trauma responses, y'all. Not only do I not trust men because I don't know them and they could unalive me, I don't trust my nervous system or my trauma responses. And I didn't want to be fooled. And also, hormones are powerful. Oxytocin, all that crap, all these bonding. I hope you guys can hear me. There's a child talking really loud. This stuff is the chemical part. And then my delusional part. And then my ego. And then the patriarchal indoctrination that was like, well, it's better than nothing. Like, I know all those voices are very loud and negative veto vote all the time. And I didn't want those voices to be able to cloud my judgment. So I started to notice that all of my friends, or most of my friends, who were in really healthy long-term relationships, didn't jump into bed with these men right away because they saw them as potential partners. And if you see a long life with them, what's the rush? What is the rush? If I see a future with a dude and I can get laid anytime I want, why on earth would I rush in with this dude? Not just, and it's not about him not respecting me. It's not about that. That's what purity culture teaches us. And that's also what purity culture teaches them, because yeah, they actually might view you differently, but whatever. I don't care what they think. I care about what I think. Oh my God. Can y'all hear that? Papa, hey, Papa, where are you? Please attend to your child. So what I realized is that, hold on, I'm going inside. Okay, sorry about that. So what I started to realize is that if I wanted to get super physical with someone right away, then I probably didn't see a future with them. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not a corny little worm. The desire was absolutely there, but in terms of like, I know that I don't need to fork this dude. I don't need to fork this dude because I need him to like me. I don't need to do this, fork this dude because it's the only opportunity. Because again, I was getting laid whenever I wanted to. I don't need that from him. And in fact, what I also started to realize is because I've been trying to become more patient as I adult, is realizing that, schmexual tension is awesome, right? Like, why would I not want to build that with someone that I could see myself with? And like, most importantly, when I met Anthony, I was so attracted to his mind, his heart, his soul. And we just talk. Like, I was like, oh my God, like I was so excited about him as a person that like the physical, I didn't need to jump into that right away. And also like this idea that you have to just like try it out and like whatever. How many of us were great at schmegs right out of the gate, right? Like if I am, like I was never worried like, well, what if we're not schmegally compatible? Guess what? You can learn that, right? Like as long as we're attracted to each other, like, I mean, I have read so many articles on how to like, and all this stuff, like I can learn. If I'm not good at something, I can learn. If he doesn't know what I like, he can learn. Because a lot of times men come into these relationships thinking that they have cracked the code for all women anyway. Because what they did with one other woman, their girlfriend, or like 15 women, and half those women are like faking it anyway because so many of us feel the pressure to do that. Like it's what worked on her isn't going to work on me. And I actually learned that right away too. I was like, crap, this thing that usually works doesn't work on this person, right? So we're going to be learning together. There's no need to go on a test ride, right? And also, if like the schmexual component is the most important thing that's bonding y'all, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. This is not like long-term, like sharing finances, your best friend, like spending tons of time together, living together material, if that's what you want. If the schmexual component and the chemistry is the major thing, guess what? If you want to have kids, after he sees you take a dump on the table, like that is not always it's going to go like this, right? What's going to keep that connection is your heart connection, your mind connection, your soul connection, your shared values. What you have in common. Are you compatible? Like to me, like the schmexual part is the easiest part to troubleshoot if you have the deep connection with somebody. And if you have issues, there are couples counselors that deal just with that issue. That stuff is easy to problem shoot. What is not easy to problem solve is, does this man see you as a human? Does he see your mind as this amazing thing that he just can't get enough of? That he never gets tired of listening to you talk, right? Loves your opinion on things, loves your heart, loves all those things. That is what the most important thing is that y'all like, do you see that in him? Right? So I'm sorry, but like, why would I want to know this person before I possibly get hypnotized, which I think is more like hypnotized, because that is what I realized when I kept trying to have relationships with these men that I hooked up with right out of the gate. I swear to God, if they eat this really well, I'm screwed. That's how I got in that relationship with that psycho who almost unalived me, because he ate this better than anybody I had ever met. I had my first like out of body experience. Oh, and I was hooked. I remember after that first time, I was like, oh man, I'm in trouble. Because I knew this guy was not boyfriend material. I knew he was too immature for me. I knew he had anger issues. I knew like that when he sent me text, I was like, oh God. I knew that this man was not good for me. But after he ate this, oh boy, I didn't care. I did not care. My Clint has veto power, unfortunately. Unfortunately. So what that original video is about is like, and I know it sounds extreme, but these are extreme times, baby. We are dying. This is life and death. I don't want to die. So I started to realize, so I had categories like men that I just want to hook up with and men that I could maybe see a future with. And whenever I go out on dates with men I was genuinely interested in, I did not I'm almost like a prude. Like they know from talking to me, I am not, like a purity culture kind of gal. But like in case they weren't sure, right out of the gate. I mean, my first date with Anthony, we talked for hours and hours and hours. And then it started raining. And so there was nowhere else to go. We were near my place. And we had actually been talking on the phone for like a while, but not like for a whole, like every day for like a whole week. We had talked for hours before we even went. Like, don't talk to these men just want a pen pal. Okay. So like, if he doesn't have a date right out of the gate, like, whatever. They want pen pals, but also like, this is your time and your energy. So I had no idea how important it was to talk to this man on the phone. And we talked like, I don't know, I think maybe we first met on like a Monday. We just talked to each other every day until our date. Now, again, I'm not saying do this. I'm just saying what we did. I was so comfortable talking to this man. I just loved talking to him. He loved talking to me. The conversation like just never stopped. And so we went on this date. And then at the end of the date, we were near my place. And I was like, okay, it's raining. I don't want to get wet. There's nowhere else to go. Like, I think it's time to go home. But I'm not like ready to end the date. Just want you to know, like, I'm not hooking up with you anytime soon. Like, I like you too much for that. And it's never ended well when I hooked up with someone that I really liked. So just so you know, with that, bearing that in mind, do you want to come up to my place and keep talking? And he was like, absolutely. So we did. We came up and we talked. And because I just said that out loud right out of the gate, one, that is informing him that like, this is what's going to work for me. Take it or leave it. And he was like, no, I mean, he was not interested in making it schmegsual right away either, because we just couldn't stop talking. And that also showed that like, it just took all the pressure off. So him and then any of the guys that I was ever interested in, I right out of the gate, I was like, just so you know, I'm not going to hook up with you for a while because it literally has never worked out for me. And I like you too much to hook up with you right away. I don't want to cloud my judgment with that. And the men who care will understand. They can forkin' wait. They don't need schmegs. They can wait. And if they can't wait, leave. Do not go on a date with them. If they keep pressuring you because you have a boundary with yourself, it's not a boundary for them. It's a boundary for yourself. I don't want to do this thing right out of the gate because it clouds my judgment. I don't have to tell them I have all these trauma responses and I've been raped so many times that like I don't have to tell them all that. It was just simple. Like, it has never worked out well. Every single time I hooked up with a guy right out of the gate, I either became really clingy because I'm like, now I'm really insecure and assuming this man is going to use me for schmegs and all this other. I'm start projecting right away because all my trauma responses are ignited. I don't want that to happen. I don't want to sabotage a good relationship because I'm feeling way too vulnerable because I did something before I was really ready to do it, but I did it because of usually either because I'm just, too anxious or not anxious and like impatient, but more importantly, it was usually to make them happy, or because I thought I should, or I didn't want to be a prude or whatever. So I would sabotage good relationships were the potentially good ones, which were rare, but most likely I would fall for these losers because they're good at eating this or because of oxytocin or some crap. Getting in a relationship with a loser is deadly. We have everything on the line. everything, right? Because if I fall for a loser, a hobosexual, like I did that one time because I got physical with him and he was too good at eating that, I literally almost died from that. So I started to realize that it was almost like a really good litmus test. If you can't handle not hooking up with me for a while, you're not my person. You don't respect me. You're in this for the wrong reasons. And so the guys that I had interest in, because again, I mean, I'm a little hoe. I love hooking up with people. I love it. But that's what I've been doing my whole adult life. When I wasn't celibate, was just having one night stands and hate forks and all those other things, right? And those were not empowering because with those, I was not coming from a place of centering myself and I was coming from a place of please like me, please pick me, and let's have childhood trauma play, act 3, 4, and 5 with you. And so when this tender bender that lasted several years was so empowering because I learned how to center myself and say no and not be codependent in the bedroom, which I had never done before. It was always about them. Even when I said it was about me, it was always about them, right? And so by having this tender bender where I could, and the only requirements for hooking up with dudes was that they were safe, which no man is ever safe, truly. You can't assume any man is just totally safe. But I had a lot of tests that I did. I did very strict vetting, like ruthlessly vetting to make sure that they seemed somewhat safe and that they were going to either center my pleasure or at least see it as important as theirs. And those men I hooked up with and I had a great time with. Most of my hookups were really fun. Now, I learned a lot. Some were better than others, but I had a good time because my only requirement is that I'm attracted to you, you respect women, and you care about my O. I don't care like anything else about you because I'm never going to see you again. And here's the other thing, and this was my own Melanie twist on it, is because I knew that having hooked up with men is what oftentimes led me to date, like getting involved with losers. I always made sure these men didn't live in my town. That's why I was like, I loved vacation hookups. I loved, and when I was doing this, partly when I was in France, but before that, it was in LA. So many men come through LA for business trips or, to do events or, to go to like Coachella or whatever. And so I had a great time hooking up with men who did not live in LA because I just didn't trust myself to even have hookups with men who lived in that town because, so I had to do an even extra layer of like, this is not going to turn anything because that's for me. Again, to each their own. You have to create your own like rules for yourself, your own boundaries. And mine, I realized, is that there was always a chance that I could end up liking this person when I hooked up with them because of all the oxytocin and if they were actually cool. And I didn't want to end up in some messed up situationship or breadcrumbing situation, which is what happened with the breadcrumb guy because I broke my own stupid rule, which is what made me reinforce that rule afterwards where I was like, I'm not hooking up with any guy who lives in this town if he can speak English. Well, that's why I was like, only French. No, because I can't get to know you. Anyway, whatever. This is like such a long, I could do like 10 videos on this. The point being, men that I was really interested in, what's the rush? What is the rush? I can be schmegely empowered and have one night stands and hookups and I can have a body. I don't even know what my body count is. I have no idea. And again, this is not for everyone. But as somebody who came from a lot of schmegdual violence, inschmest, childhood essay from, stalkers and all this stuff, like somebody who also grew up in the South, in the white purity culture of the South, where I'm supposed to be a lily white flower, pure, blah. This was, for me, I needed to do this for me. But it is a very dangerous game. It is very dangerous. I'm not saying that everyone should do this. What I am, some people don't want to have that with other people, and that's fine. I am not judging you. For me, I really wanted to be schmegdually empowered, but I didn't want to date these dudes. I just wanted to get experience with men without my heart being on the table. And so the category was like, there's like some sort of boundary around, I will never see you again. Let's have consensual hookup where we both know this is just today or tonight or whatever, that is this category. This is category. And the men who I'm genuinely interested in, we'll get there when I'm ready. I'm taking my time because I do not trust my trauma responses. I don't trust my indoctrination. I don't trust myself to not be too codependent yet. I don't trust I know that because I have so much trauma around this stuff, I'm so afraid that all my abandonment issues will come up. I mean, and even when I waited, like with Anthony, I still project stuff on him in the beginning, especially. And so all those trauma responses started coming up, but because we've been together long enough, I knew how to deal with those. And I had a history with him to understand the kind of person I was with. And I wasn't as afraid of those trauma responses sabotaging the relationship because we had a solid foundation of trust, communication, and just time together. So I don't know. I don't know if this is helpful, but they have sold us this. I am not against hookup culture at all. Hookup culture I'm against because men have ruined it. I'm not against hooking up and doing whatever you want, having fun, exploring your body, all that stuff. But because cishet men are so dangerous, I had to learn how to do it in a way that felt safe to me, where I could protect myself from them as best I could. Because again, you are never, ever fully protected, right? Because that's victim blaming to say, like, you can do all these things and you'll never have it. No. At any point, these dudes could end up being psychopaths, right? And I did get burned real bad by one dude. I still need to tell you all that story. And so there is a way to be a hoe like me and also date with integrity and self-respect and patience and have very high standards for myself for men that I actually was interested in. You could do both. I did. That is not for everybody. That is not for everybody. But what the women who came up to me after I would talk about this on stage were like, yeah, like I'm hooking up with this guy because, I want to be able to have schmegs. I want to be able to da-da-da-da-da. And I get that line of thinking. But now we're in this way. That's how these women end up in situationships where they're getting exploited by men who don't actually like them. They're just hooking up. They want boyfriends, but they're giving all this away to these men who haven't earned it, who they don't realize who they are. And that's why that I know it's extreme. Like, you want me to give you my body right away because I'm supposed to just trust that you are a decent human being and sleep with you right away? Okay, if I give you my body, give me $10,000. Like, I know that sounds insane, but just think about it. The amount of money that I have spent on therapy, EMDR, all of this crap, it is so expensive. The amount of money I have lost from dealing with all this trauma from men who I just trusted were not going to hurt me, that is worth more than 10 grand. So like, I'm not saying do this, but I think that is something like, you know what? If you can't wait, then give me $10,000 for therapy I'm going to have to deal with when you try to exploit me, or the money that you're going to steal from me by trying to move into my home, but not be interested in giving anything. Like, it's the concept. It's the concept that I think is really funny. Is like, I know my worth and I know what I deserve, and I know how risky it is to get involved with any of you forkers. Any of you. You may not know the risk or care about the risk, but I'm pretty sure you kind of do, because you benefit from me, from patriarchy. You benefit from the violence of other men, even if you're not going to do it. You benefit from me being afraid of you and me giving in to you because I'm afraid of you, right? The patriarchy is already rigged against women. The house always wins, as Therese says. So my only shot at not losing here is to rig the game in my favor as best I can. Not even rig it, just make it so that the consequences of getting screwed are going to impact me as little as possible, hopefully. I don't know. Let me know if you want me to do more videos on this, because I have so much to say about this. But yeah, I stopped hooking up with men that I was genuinely interested in, because the women that were around me who had really healthy relationships had done the same thing, because they're like, what's the rush? I really like this guy. He seems special. Why would I fork him right away? Right? Like, why would I complicate it when this is supposed to be a foundation of friendship? My closest friends, I don't fork them right away. The difference is that I'm attracted to my partner. That doesn't mean I have to fork them right away. Anyway, I hope this helps.